come week 5, I said, this is a bunch of bullshit.
Yes.
And I'm either going to shut my doors and move to another state because there's no possible way we can come out of this, or I'm going to open my doors and fight. And then if I lose, at least I fought for my business.
That's so true.
Sometimes life just sucks, and sometimes it freaking rocks. We will discuss all the things from family and real estate to travel and just life in general. So take a seat, or don't, you do you, and welcome to the Lambadass Podcast.
Part 2 of 2. Thank you again for joining me. In our last podcast, we got to talk about the level of mental health that you experienced in your life. And I loved it because I felt like it was so deep. It was so just something that people need to know is true, and that shit can happen. But what I want to know now is I want to know all the good stuff, because so much has happened since 2017. And I want to hear all about it. I remember when you came to me and told me, Lauren, I'm going to open up my own hair studio. And I was like, what? And if I had money at the time, girl, because you were looking for an investor at the time.
Yeah.
And you were
Which I never even decided on.
You didn't?
No, we went in on our own.
Good. I just think that's amazing. But you had, and I was like, shit. And I remember thinking, if I had the money to do this, this would be an amazing avenue to go down. But so what ended up happening after, so 2017 happened. If you guys don't know what happened, you need to go back and listen to last week's podcast. We're not going to give too much away. But after you got through that, then what happened?
Yeah, so 2017 happened,
Yes.
you know, and like I said, Kira started living, you know, Kira definitely started to, I put those shoes on and I just
love it.
I didn't walk, I ran.
Yeah, you did.
You know,
Yep.
and it was like, it felt so good. And let me just say, I don't run.
I don't either.
I don't run.
And if I am running, you should be running too, because
Yeah.
something's chasing me.
No, 100%, right?
I'm not lying.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I'm running, I'm either starving, so get the hell out of the way, or something's chasing me and I
Yeah.
just need to be faster than you.
100%.
Okay. So
100%.
so terrible. Okay. So go ahead.
So, at that time, obviously living in Eastville, and I was driving to Fullerton to work.
I remember that.
My whole clientele was out there. Like, what are you going to do? You're going to drive. You know, you're going to get in that car. You're going to drive. And I was only working 3 days a week, one of them being Saturday. So really, to be honest with you, it wasn't that big of a deal.
Sure.
It was just the time. It took time.
Yep.
But I went in when there was no traffic, and I came home when there was no traffic.
Right.
So it was working. And so I was traveling to Fullerton, and my career kept getting better. You know, I unfortunately damaged some of my career on my own during what I had gone through.
Sure.
And here it was, like, I was happy. I was excited to get to work. I was just digging in so deep and putting all my effort and everything, and just, I got my passion back. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And that was really important for me, because this is all I've ever done. The only thing I've ever done in my life is a salon. I mean, I started, you know, in this cute little salon in Whittier, and I would answer phones and sweep and fold towels, which took me into beauty school. Then I was assisting, and then, you know, so it was like, this is all I've ever done. So talk about passion, you know.
For sure.
I've never wanted to do anything else. So yeah, I just totally threw myself completely in, along with obviously being a mama and a
Sure,
wife,
of
and
course.
you know, all those things. And again, let's go back. Emmy was 4, so she's in preschool.
Oh my gosh.
So she turned 5 in July and was going to be starting kindergarten. And so my thought kind of kept going back and forth to, like, am I going to keep driving to Fullerton? Like, am I doing this for real? Because we're not moving, you know?
Right.
You know, and Mike's working out in this area now. So
Good.
it was like, what am I going to do? And it's like, well, I mean, I'm fine. You know, I have a clientele. I'm making money. Big deal. I'm driving to Fullerton. And Emmy started kindergarten that fall. And probably about 3 to 4 months in, I want to say it was like October or November of 2017.
17. Okay.
Yes. And I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, I don't want to drive to Fullerton anymore.
Okay.
I want to be close to my baby girl.
Yeah.
You know, school and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, what am I going to do though? you know?
Yeah.
Like, I have a clientele out here. I do not have any clients in Riverside County.
Yep.
And it's kind of a big deal. You get paid because you have a client,
Right,
you know?
right.
So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to start looking at hair salons in the area and work part-time here in Riverside County and still tend to my clients in Fullerton until I get to a point to where it's like, okay, I can now, you know, walk away from Fullerton and I'm doing fine in Riverside County and I can just stay there.
Right.
And so I did. I started going around to all these different salons, you know, in the area, decently close, which I'm still so disappointed that Eastville doesn't have a hair salon that's just, it's so needed in Eastville.
Well, from a real estate perspective, I will tell you that rent is so astronomically high.
Well, I tried to get into Eastville.
See, it's insanity. We were looking at
crazy.
office space, and even looking at office space, it's so difficult. And even the new shopping center that's there in Chino, right off of Schleisman.
Yeah.
Even that is so, and that would be a killer location just because of all the stuff that's going in there.
Right.
It's just so expensive. I don't know how these people are doing it.
I don't either. It's
But anyways.
absolutely crazy. So anyways,
agree
I
with
would
you.
love to bring what I have
To Eastville.
but I can't. There's no way.
What about that place over by Starbucks? It used to be a
Which Starbucks? Because there's one in every single shopping center.
true story. Schleisman and Archibald, across from Albertsons.
Oh yeah, no, everything's expensive.
I know.
I mean, you're starting at $3 a square foot, which is just insane.
Insanity. But anyways, so go ahead.
So I started looking at hair salons in the area, you know, Norco, Corona, even Ontario, Chino, and I was just so disappointed. And I was like, there's just nothing that I'm walking into that has impressed me.
Yep.
And I will say there's obviously something about Orange County's hair salons.
Yes.
They are exceptional and beautiful and ran very well. And, you know, you walk into a receptionist, whereas out here in Riverside County, it's like close to unheard of that you walk into a salon, and it's insane to me. But I said, there's nothing I want to work at. So I'm just going to keep working in Fullerton, you know?
Yeah.
And then weeks become, you know, a month or so. And it was like, I wonder if I could do this.
Oh, no.
I wonder if I could do this.
Okay. So what time of year was this about?
So this is like November, December of 2017.
Okay.
And the conversation started because there was a hair salon in Norco that the owner had been living in another state.
Oh.
But she lived here before.
Okay.
But then she moved and still had the salon and would come in for like 1 week a month. And it was kind of like, hey, I think she's probably going to want to sell.
Yep.
That avenue didn't work out because, God forbid, I should ask specific questions about finances.
Sure.
She hated me, which is just insane to me. Well, I shouldn't say hate, but she literally was so upset that I was asking for her profit and loss for over the last few years. I asked to see her lease. Yeah.
That's normal, by the way,
I
people. When you
know.
buy a business, you got to look at the P&Ls.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. So anyways, that didn't work out, which now I look back and I'm like, oh, thank
God,
God.
right?
Yeah, for sure. So then it was like, well, I'm going to check things out.
Yeah.
Because what is it going to hurt to get a broker and start, you know, walking around trying to figure things out? So
Yes.
I did. I found this location in Norco.
Uh-huh.
And I was super excited about it. And it was just a raw place, which for you that don't know, it means it was just completely empty and never had anything in it before.
Yes.
So I was working with some really cool concrete floors, and there were some walls that definitely needed to be
Loved.
very, that's a great word. Yes, love.
They need a little bit of care and love.
They did. And there was a wall I wanted to knock down, which I had permission for. So I was super stoked about it, like going through the negotiations, trying to figure out what the lease was. I get word that there is a salon in Corona that's shutting her doors, and that the lease would be, that there would be a lease coming up.
Okay.
And so the landlords are looking for a new tenant. And I'm like,
And it's already decked out, ready for...
no.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Well, I mean, for her, I guess it was ready, but it was not ready for my needs.
Okay.
But she had been running the salon. The salon was open until the day that I went in and looked at it, which is crazy to me because it was a hot mess.
Oh, shit. Is it the place that you're at now?
It is the place I'm at now.
Okay.
So I get this word right, and I'm like, oh my gosh. I didn't really like the shopping center. I don't know if you remember the shopping center.
I know
before
exactly
me.
where it's at.
Yeah, so it was very run down, and I was like, I just really don't like that shopping center. And remind you and remind everybody else that's watching and listening, I don't know anybody out here.
Yes.
So I was going to have to build from scratch.
Ground up.
Like everything. So all those things do matter. You know, when stylists are looking for a place to work, they're going to look at the shopping center. They're going to look at the area. Like, is it going to work for my clientele?
Absolutely.
Is it going to work for me to continue building my clientele? You know, all those things really do matter. So I wasn't sure about it. I really wasn't sure about it. And my broker says, well, there's already a lease. It looks like that's going to be signed. So, you know, maybe it's just, you know, signs are all there. It's just not going to align for you.
Sure.
And so went back, was continuing to negotiate for Norco. And something in my mind was just like, well, big deal that there's somebody that already might be signing a lease. It's not signed yet. So now competitive peer comes out. And I'm like, well, I want to put an offer in. Shits and giggles, right? Like, why not?
Yeah.
So we did. We put an offer in and my offer was accepted.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. My offer was accepted. And we went through all the negotiations, the back and forth, read this, read that, and signed my lease, slapped my big check on the table, and literally 3 days after that, I was ripping that place apart.
I remember that.
I was ripping it to shreds.
So what did you do? You put in everything was brand new. Because I remember right when you got it up, you're like, you have to come see it.
Yes.
So I went and it was just me and you. There might have been one or two other people in there. And I was just looking, I was just so like in awe of what you did. So what all did you do to this building?
I mean, we did everything. The only thing that we didn't touch that thank goodness we didn't need to was the plumbing for the shampoo bowls, which can be a very big job.
Sure.
And very costly. So, but I mean, we're talking extension cords that were like ran for stations to be able to have electricity. I mean, it was bad. It was really, really bad. And so I went in and of course I already knew cosmetic wise, it definitely was not going to be what I wanted.
Right.
So we did everything. We ripped out the floor. We ripped down walls. I mean, there was multiple different rooms. So we ripped some of that stuff out. I knew I only wanted hair. I didn't want to mess around with nails and waxing or anything. Yeah. Well, first of all, there's a nail salon literally two spaces over from me. And there's no way that I was going to ever take away business from them, nor did I want to compete with them, nor did I want a nail tech in my salon. Like I really just wanted to do hair. Because real estate wise, you know, you have so much square footage.
Yeah.
What am I going to do with that square footage?
Yep.
And how much money am I going to make with that square footage? Right. Because that's what it does come down to.
Yep.
So you start trying to think of
how many square feet do you have?
2,400.
Oh, that's a big space.
Yeah.
Okay.
2,400 square feet. There currently is 21 stations.
Oh, okay.
And there is total with there's 2 assistants and then my receptionist. So take away my receptionist because she's not a stylist, obviously. So there's 25 of us, including myself, and then 26 with her. Yeah.
Wow.
All women. All women.
Is that crazy?
We get along.
All of you. Well, I can't imagine
along.
you bringing somebody in and taking that culture from what it is and letting one person demolish that.
I've had to make those choices.
Yeah,
I have. I've had to make those choices, and it's okay.
Yeah,
you know, it's okay.
If you're not a good fit, nothing personal.
No. Yeah. No. And so we did everything. We put new flooring in. We put all new drywall up. The electricity is insane. The amount of all the electrical work that we had to do. I even thought down to the paint color because there's certain paint colors that will reflect certain light and you don't want your clients to see certain light when they're looking at their hair. Like literally that's how far I went into
I love that.
Into what I was going to provide for the county, or not the county, but for the community, for other stylists to make this their hair home. And I literally every little thing inside that place I thought of. For sure.
I love that. So now you guys have been running for how many? Okay, so because that took time. So when did you guys actually open your doors?
We opened construction was only 31 days.
Shut the hell. How do you get people to, I can't even get people to come over to my house and give me a bid for shit in 31 days.
Listen, this was actually with me pushing them because there was some stuff that was going on. So they probably could have been done quicker, but that is what it is. And they did get it done and June 1st open.
That is it. So June 1st of 2018.
So the thought of all this started in right before the new year was up of 2017 and it literally became a reality on June 1st of 2018, and I was crapping my pants.
I would have been.
I was
crapping my pants too. Okay, but I have to put this in because if you didn't listen to last week's podcast, literally almost a year and like a couple months, a year and a month to the day.
Yeah. So my hospital stay was May 17th of 2017. Yeah.
And you opened your doors almost exactly a month later, a month and 2 weeks later.
No, a year later.
That's what I meant. A year. Sorry. Yes.
Yeah.
A year.
Almost to the date, a year later.
In my mind, I was ahead a year. So, okay, that is amazing. It's funny. Tom Ferry, who is a real estate coach, he always says people really underestimate what they can do in a year, but they overestimate what they can do in like 5 years or something like that. So he always is breaking things down. That is incredible to me. I'm so proud of you, like just as a massive side note. So you open your doors in 2018, and who was your client? Because you were starting from scratch. So where did these people come from?
Yeah. So I was very lucky, and still to this day, very lucky that some of my OC clients do come see me.
Shut up.
Yes, they're amazing.
You know what? They go against traffic though, both ways, if you think about it.
Well, it's not even just that, but, and I know we'll get into COVID, but COVID put a lot of people, where they were, on remote working and stuff like that. And so that's helped at least over the last, 3.5 years. But before that, it was just like, okay, Saturdays, I know I'm here all day long and I'm slammed because my Orange County clients were so loyal. And still to this day, a lot of them still do come to me. Now I have had some that have moved out this way, not completely out this way, but like I have a couple that are in Chino, one that's in Ontario.
Sure.
So it does make it a little bit easier for them.
Sure.
So yeah, that's kind of where I started. And then I literally went on Instagram and I searched different hashtags. So if you search a hashtag, any post that has that hashtag comes up.
Yes.
So, Riverside County stylist. And I started friend requesting all these stylists from Lather Studio's page.
Okay.
So they see Lather Studio coming up as like, oh, this whatever this is just friend requested me. Then they see it's a salon. Then they see it's new. And I had all these great pictures up of the salon. I was constantly posting about hiring and all this stuff. And then it's just like they trickled in. Yeah.
Amazing.
I did it 100% off of social media. I built my salon 100% off of social media.
Future business owners, I hope you are listening. This is gold. Okay.
Yeah.
So you researched hashtags and then
I
built your
just
business.
started following hashtags and And then what I would do is to get clients in, because again, this is like a new place. They don't know like, oh, I'm going to call Lather Studio. Like it hasn't been around for 20 years. I did similar where I would go into different friends that I was already friends with from the area and start friend requesting their friends.
Love it. Good. I hope you use the shit out of mine because I did. Good, as you should. That is incredible. Yeah. I just think, we might be in different avenues of business, but one, the fact that we're both women-owned businesses just like makes my heart so happy. And the fact that we both literally built ourselves up. Now, the one thing that I did have going for me is that I did grow up in this area. So I did know a lot of people.
Right.
But I'll tell you, in real estate, the people that are usually the last ones to use you because they're like, well, I'm going to kind of sit back and see how she does. And if she does well with other people, well, then I guess I'll use her.
Well, and sometimes my guess, and this is like what I believe is probably very realistic, is they don't want you to even know their finances or anything of that sort.
Which is so crazy to me because when it comes to real estate, I don't need to know any of that shit. All I need to know is what you're pre-approved for, what your down payment is. I don't need to know what your monthly payment is. Right. I don't need to know how much you make. Like I have no idea how much you and Mike make. And is in the paperwork somewhere. That paperwork that it's in doesn't even go to me. It goes to the lender. So I feel like, listen, if you're buying a $2 million house, I know you make okay money. Like, let's just put it out there. Right. Or you've made some good financial decisions that have led you to have a bigger investment so you can take a bigger down payment and put this down. Like, I mean, I'm not an idiot, but with all due respect, if you're living in a $2, $5, $6 million home, I know that you're not schlumming it. Yeah, like everybody, I would think knows that.
For sure.
But you're probably right.
Yeah.
The other thing is too, there's so many haters, girl. There's so many haters and they're like, I'm not going to support you because everybody else supports you and everybody else loves you. I'm sure you get that too. Like where it's just like, girl.
Yeah.
It runs deep, But anyways.
It runs very deep. And that if that's going to open the conversation of COVID, we can start there if you want to.
So I love how you knew what I was doing. So you opened your doors in 2018, and then the lovely COVID hit. Literally March, it was Connor's birthday weekend, I remember, like March 12th, 13th, that weekend and of 2020. And you were like, well, what the hell? I just opened my business a year and a half ago. I've been doing all these promos and doing all these ads and stuff like that. So what, did you ever close your doors on Lather?
So I did. So like every smart business owner, you have like a business attorney and you have peeps that you can like talk to. Well, that's me.
Okay.
So I do have a business attorney, and there was so many signs of like crap that was going to be going on, right?
Sure.
Like, so starting mid-January, it was kind of like the talk, and then you just kind of started seeing the stuff happening.
Yes.
And I was terrified.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that I was terrified of COVID. I was terrified of what this was going to do to Mike and I.
Agreed.
Because our entire life and every penny we had in our garage, underneath the bed, wherever, was in this salon.
Yes.
Because, like I said before, we didn't end up going with an investor. We ended up doing this. And so I was literally terrified. I literally was like, we're going to have to move out of state. Like, we're not going to be able to do this. So that when Gavin Newsom came on and said that he's closing down the state,
Billy's shaking his head.
someone's essential, someone's not essential, you know, the whole crap that he did.
Yes.
I called my business attorney.
Yep.
And I was like, what do I do? And of course, they can only advise you, right? They can't say this is what you have to do. It's your attorney, you pay them.
Right.
And so I called him and I was like, what do I do? Like, is
I'm
this like
freaking out.
for real?
Yep.
Like, am I gonna, are they gonna arrest me? Like, what's gonna really happen?
Yes.
And nobody knew. Nobody knew. Who was gonna know any of those details when something like this has never happened?
Yes.
So he kind of gave a little advice, and then I was like, okay.
What did he tell you?
So he basically said, look, I can't tell you what to do, but it is only 14 days. So you need to make the decision if it's worth it or not.
Okay.
And, then it was, well, do I have my stylist still pay rent? Because I still have to pay my bills.
Right.
So the reality of...
I didn't even think of that, Kira.
Yes, because... That's just how things are. It's like, I don't make money off of a client coming in the door. The girls pay rent every single week. It's a rental salon, so it's booth rent.
Yeah.
And I was like, at that time, I mean, talk about just drowning in bills because you've literally only been open for not even 2 years.
Oh my gosh.
And so I went in and I said, we had an emergency meeting. Everyone's coming down there. And I'm like, gosh, this is the reality, guys. Like, this is for real. Like, this is happening. And I said, I'm going to shut the doors. And I said, but I have to ask you guys for these 14 days to please pay your rent because I have to pay all the bills here.
Yeah.
And there were the ones that were like, how dare you? And then they're the ones that were like, don't worry about it. We got you. Like, we got this.
Yeah.
It's 14 days. We've got this.
Right.
And so, the next day after that, I want to say like 4 girls that were like,
peace out.
Peace out.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Yeah. But like, how awesome that this came full circle right back to, hey, you said peace out. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Because.
Did they try coming back?
No, but I think they probably wish they did.
Okay, fair enough. I feel like you'd be great to work for.
I think that, no, I don't even think it had anything to do with me. I think it had to do with the decision I made to then open back up.
Okay, so you closed down for 2 weeks.
So I closed down for the first 2 weeks.
Okay.
Then my landlord allowed, because it was extended. But anyways, the first extension allowed me to pay half of my lease.
Okay.
Which helped so much.
Oh, I bet.
So I then, after the 14 days, told the girls, hey, look, if you want to work, go ahead. I can't like make you not work. You're an independent contractor,
Yes.
And so it was kind of like work on your own, your own time and like take that chance yourself. And so after the 14 days, there was a lot of girls that went back and they were like, we have to, you know? And
that's normal. It's
Correct.
normal to have to work.
Correct. And I allowed them to pay half rent because
That's
I
what
was
you
getting
did.
half. Like, yeah. So
Love that.
It really worked out. Come week 5, I said, this is a bunch of bullshit.
Yes.
And I'm either going to shut my doors and move to another state because there's no possible way we can come out of this. Or I'm going to open my doors and fight. And then if I lose, at least I fought for my business.
That's so true.
And so, yeah, what do? You fight. You fight. And I was fighting a battle. I had no idea. There was nobody else that could tell me this is what's going to happen. This is what's going to happen. Nothing like that. There was nobody else that could say what was going to happen. So here I am, like totally blind.
You're the only place open
And I
within
was
like
loud.
100 mile. You were very loud, which here's the thing. I think hindsight's 2020, right? But I think if people had really been following these guidelines, and I really think that if things were as bad as, and I'm not saying that they weren't bad for everybody. I do think that COVID was fucking terrible for people. Like
Absolutely.
There's no doubt in my mind.
Oh,
okay.
absolutely.
But to take people's livelihood away and to make it to where you're responsible for somebody else's health is where I drew the line. And the hard line was when Carson came to me. My baby came to me and was like, Mama, how come Governor Newsom, that's not what he says, Governor Newsom, I forget how he called him. How come he can keep his stuff open? And because, David and I were talking and we're like, well, his wineries are open and he's dining at places and he's going out and his kids are going to flippin' school and all this stuff. And my kids are like, well, what the hell? It's either really bad or it's not. And then all these masks.
Well, and remember, he was going to Montana a lot too, because he has property in Montana, and Montana was nothing like California.
True.
So where is he going to go? He's going to stay in California and get caught doing all the things he knew that he was still going to continue to do? Or was he going to go to Montana where things were open and say, well, that's how it is here in Montana?
Well, and that to me is the double standard. Like this is 100%. Either a silent killer and it's killing everybody. But then the other thing that sparked me is odd is I'm walking around and all these used masks are on the floor. And for a virus that is so deadly contagious, why did we not have places to throw these things away instead of they're just laying on the floor? Somebody else is going to go pick them up. Like, and kids are wearing these nasty ass masks and stuff when schools finally did open again and stuff. And these teachers are yelling at them instead of teaching, they're yelling at them to keep it up and stuff. And not all teachers were like that. Don't come at me. Not all teachers were like that.
No,
but
they weren't.
And I get that they were just trying to follow rules too. I get it. They didn't want to lose their livelihood. You and I know how that is. We get that. But in the same token, it's like, what's good for the goose is good for the gander, right? And you're sitting here going to $1,000 dinners when I just want to pay my bills and I just want to keep my hair salon open. And it really rubbed me. And that's when I was like, you know what? If you really wanted us to take this shit seriously, then you should have taken it seriously too.
Well, and I think the biggest thing that pissed me off was the labeling. I think more than anything, it was like you're essential and you're non-essential.
I agree.
Who in the entire world thinks that they have any right? I mean, I'm not even going to talk about authority, but any right to say that.
Agreed.
I mean, and then on top of that, to force that. I mean, that's probably what really, really pissed me off because I have a life just like everybody else.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And so what do you mean the way that I chose to make money and provide for my family financially isn't essential?
By the way, liquor stores were essential, churches weren't.
That's right. Oh, what about the strip clubs?
Strip clubs were open too. I look at Billy like he would know that. Billy's not going to know that. But that is that's true. Churches closed down. And I remember
Churches closed down.
There were like, and it's like, oh my gosh, when people don't know what to do. And you want to talk about mental health. I mean, that I think was the beginning of an end for a lot of people.
And there was things that happened over those 5 weeks that I think I realized. I came to the realization that like if I fought and lost, then I fought.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But if I just
and if you were going to lose
here,
everything anyways, what did it matter?
Well, and then that was the thing too. It was like I'm sitting at home drinking.
Yeah.
You know, or I'm sitting like, so there was stuff.
Sure.
There was stuff that was kind of like all happening to it. And over my dead body, was I going to go backwards? Over my dead body, was I going to go back to everything that I had gone through in my life? It was not going to happen. And Mike was like, Are you sure? Are you sure?
Totally see him doing
Are you
that.
sure? I'm like, yes, I'm sure. I got this. Like,
So-
if you can just handle this, this, and this, I've got this. Like, that's kind of what it came down to.
We're going to stay in our lanes.
Because too, I was at the salon, all the time during COVID.
Did you have people coming in? Did you have like health people and stuff?
Okay, so
I
I decided to open.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
Yes. Uh-huh.
I got extremely loud. I still, to this day, am very proud of that.
Good. Yes.
And the first person that came in he was a retired Corona PD officer, and he was helping the city of Corona during COVID strictly with situations like this.
Okay.
The coolest guy
Oh.
ever.
Okay.
And it was very apparent how he felt about all of it.
Mm-hmm.
And he came out and was just doing his job.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm picking up what you're putting down.
And I was like, okay. And we had a great conversation outside my salon, and I was very honest with him, and he just shook his head. And like I said, I'm just here doing my job.
Yep.
But go back a week, I had called Corona PD and I said, hey, hypothetically, if a business, a hair salon in your city decided to open their doors, what are you guys going to do about it? Because remember, this lady in Texas that opened her hair salon had been arrested.
Yes. I remember that. I remember that.
And that happened all before I opened. So I said, hypothetically. And he goes, well, hypothetically, we would do nothing. And I'm like, oh, really? And he's like, yeah. So I was like, cool. I talked to the watch commander. Didn't ask for permission. He didn't give permission. It was just kind of like a, hey, heads up, what if this happened?
Sure.
So then on day 4 of being open, so now it's Thursday. I opened on Monday. So now it's Thursday. I get word from one of my stylists who knows at the time the mayor of Corona.
Okay.
That the city is going to have a closed door litigation about my business and whether or not to shut me down. So I scramble and I write this big old thing out and I put all these different documents
They didn't even
together.
tell you.
They didn't tell me. So I put all these little documents together and all this stuff, and I reach out to the mayor. And I'm like, hey, I have word that this is what's happening. And this is all the documents I have to help myself. And this is how I feel about it. And I basically said, you guys will literally lose your everything if you try to come at me.
Good.
I have an attorney. And you know damn well that what you would do to me would be completely against my rights.
Yes. And there was no law, by the way. There was no law that stated that you could not work.
Guidelines.
There was guidelines. There were mandates, but not law. So you were not breaking any law.
Nothing in law.
Okay.
Correct.
So then what
Correct.
happened?
So he said, he actually responded, thank you for reaching out to me. Here's all the emails of every city council member that is going to be in this meeting. Please forward this email to all of them, and we will review your documents and this email before we have our litigation.
Beautiful.
Comes out later that day. They're not moving forward with anything.
Imagine that.
Correct. And guess who it was? Or I should say, guess if the person voted blue or voted red that wanted this closed litigation.
And why closed would be my question. Why not?
Didn't want any outside feedback or any outside opinion, because legally you can go into a city council meeting and sign up to be able to speak to the city council.
Yes, I've done that before
during
at
a
the
meeting.
school board.
So I think they didn't want any outside influence involved in it, or they didn't want me in the meeting.
But they work for us. So
Correct.
so they should
this
be
is my whole case. Like,
they should be the voice
my
of the
whole
people.
case, even still to this day, is that you work for me.
Yes.
I don't work for you.
Yes.
So
it's your job to do what your
It's your
constituents
job.
want.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, so they're not moving forward.
So there was that first, and everything was great.
Okay.
I mean, we had clients coming from everywhere. We had
Sure.
clients coming from Pasadena, Ventura, down in San Diego, up the high desert. I mean, everywhere, because
you're the only
there
one
wasn't-
open.
Exactly.
Perfect.
So let's talk about hate.
Okay, please.
The amount of hate that came at me was unbelievable. And 90% of it was from other hairstylists in the area.
Really?
90% of it. And most of my girls, well, all of my girls worked somewhere else before they worked for me, right?
Yes.
Because I'm new.
Yes.
So they had other people from their salons, from previous salons they worked at, reaching out to them and telling them like, how dare your owner, this and that. And my girls are like, well, you should tell your owner to do the same thing. She's trying to tell people that.
Right.
You know, they're like, Kira is literally telling other salons, open up. If we power in numbers, right? Everything is power in numbers.
Yep.
If I had 50% of the hair salons in Riverside County open along with me, things would be so different right now.
Sure.
But they had to open and be loud. None of this curtains coming in the back door, like nothing like that. It had to be, we're fighting back, right?
Yes.
We're standing our ground. We're going to be able to exercise our rights, and we're standing, fighting back.
But this leads me to a question. Why do they care? If they don't want to be around people because they're worried or they're scared or whatever.
Why? Because their clients were coming to my salon.
Oh, shit.
Because where are they going to go?
I didn't even think of that.
You know?
You're right. So they're losing clients and they're pissed.
Well, and guess what? Was that my fault?
No.
You know
what their hair did.
At the end of the day, selfishly, what I was doing was just fighting for my business. Did my hairstylist,
Your livelihood.
Well, my livelihood. Yeah, my business, business, my livelihood, the whole 9 yards, and all the girls that work for me, their livelihoods, So did they benefit from the fact that I decided to do what I did? Yeah, absolutely. And they're still to this day so thankful for it.
I bet.
And so everything was great. Then I got sued by Riverside County.
I remember that.
And this is where I got really deep into Riverside County politics. And I really started becoming a part of so many different meetings and activities and rallies. And this is where it really blew up for me, where it was like, now I'm nationwide.
Yes.
I've got 60 minutes. Yeah, I've got 60 minutes reaching out. I have, Insider Edition. I was on Fox News. it was like insane.
Right.
And my biggest thing when Riverside County came at me was, you've got to be kidding me that I am a tax-paying business in your county and you want to shush me and shut my doors. You've got to be kidding me.
So where did that go?
It went nowhere because I fought my ass off. Well, I shouldn't say it went nowhere. So it did. So I got served. The next day was a hearing for a temporary restraining order, which meant I had to shut my doors. They put the TRO on me and I didn't shut my doors.
Okay.
And instead, a huge group of us showed up the next week at the Board of Supervisors meeting, picketing outside, arguing, went in, we all spoke. And I found out that it was me and 14 other businesses that had all been sued at the same time.
Okay.
Well, a lot of them didn't have representation.
Sure.
And I did.
Right.
So I looked at my attorney and I said, if I have to pay you, I will, but we're representing everybody. We're doing this together. We're all doing this together.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I bet they felt like, finally.
And it was hard because he didn't really represent everybody.
Sure.
It was just that we all decided to do it together.
Yes.
Like we all decided to put the pressure on. And I find out once I get the paperwork that the county council was a client of my salon.
Shut up.
So the assistant county counsel, her name is Kelly Moran. I don't believe she works there anymore. And I do know that the actual attorney for county is gone too. But so she signs all these papers and I find out, oh my gosh, that was a client. She hadn't been in, but it was one of my hairstylist clients. And I'm like,
this is so juicy.
This is just so like,
gross.
You've got to be kidding me, right?
Yeah.
So I had everybody I knew friend requesting her on social media, sending her emails. I mean, just drowning her all at the same time.
Yeah.
I'm like, ready, go.
Yeah.
Like literally ready, go. Here's the email address. She ended up blocking everything she could possibly on, social media, all this stuff.
Sure.
So then we have the board meeting. And we were able to leave that meeting with everybody's lawsuits being dropped.
Love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God.
So now I'm like, oh, this is awesome.
Yes.
I'm way in the clear. And I'm pushing other businesses. Hey, look, this is what happened. I was honest. I was saying it all. I was sharing all of it,
Yeah.
This is what happened. This is what I did. Guess what? Both the city and
We're
the
good.
county, they've backed off. No one's doing anything. Open up. What are you waiting for? I mean, any avenue I could possibly share with any business. I was going into businesses. How are you doing? Open up, open your doors. This is who I am. This is what I did. I was just trying so hard to get so many people on board because it would help us.
Power in numbers. Yep.
It would help us. And then that December.
So
The board of so now it's December of 2020.
okay.
The Board of Barbering and Cosmetology sued me.
Yes, I knew this.
And they put a temporary revocation on my cosmetology license and my establishment license. So my establishment license is the salon.
Yeah.
So it was under my LLC.
Right.
And me as the manager, me as, And so I'm like, crap,
Yeah.
Now I really have to make a decision.
Yep.
Because if I don't have an establishment license, none of these girls can work here. And if I don't have a cosmetology license, that's my livelihood. What am I going to do? And so at this point now, I'm kind of freaking out, kind of.
Sure.
And then it was like 2 days later, I was like, oh, hell no.
Yep.
Oh, hell no. So we prepped for court. Court was 3 days, full trial, took the stand, the whole 9 yards in March. Ruling came back with permanent revocation of my license, cosmetology license, and permanent revocation of my establishment license. There was no way that I was ever going to win in this court. It's administration court. To be honest with you, even if the judge came back with a different ruling, they can rule however they want, the DCA, which is just insane. But the judge did feel that...
What's DCA stand for?
Department of Consumer Affairs.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. So the judge pretty much could come back with
It
a
wouldn't
finding
matter.
of not, it didn't matter. It didn't matter.
Sure.
And so they did. But this is the funniest thing about this, and I know you're going to laugh. I get the ruling, and they send it via documents. And it's like, it's a stack of papers. It's long.
Right.
And at the very end, it says what the ruling is. And it says, and this is like April. We had March was trial. April, I get the ruling. And it says that as of May 29th, 2021, both licenses are revoked.
Okay.
So I wasn't that much of a threat to have it revoked
Immediately.
instantly.
I can't.
Let's wait another month to have it revoked permanently.
Why?
I have no idea.
That's so
It's
weird.
hilarious to me. If I was that much of a threat to the public health and safety, you still wanted to give
Immediately.
me that extra month to prepare for
What?
Just insane.
Okay,
Just
so then what
stupid.
happens?
So I ended up refiling for an establishment license in Mike's name.
Oh.
He's an owner.
Yeah.
He's on the lease.
Okay.
So they issue us a new establishment license in Mike's name.
And it's not like you guys have different last names.
No, not to mention the fact that,
hell?
oh my gosh, you can't make it up. Not to mention the fact that the same exact caseworker that I was dealing with is the one who reached out to me with the documentation to refile and send me my new establishment license.
Stop it. Okay, but what about your cosmetology license?
I've been working without it.
So you can work without a cosmetology license?
No.
Oh, so what are they going to do? Is that kind of like your thought?
Yeah. So I ended up having a couple visits after that
From
the Board of Barbering and Cosmetology.
Okay.
Because they got, and this is where the hate goes too. It's like,
Sure.
oh my God. So someone turned me in.
Of course.
And said that they, said that I was working without a license. So they show up. I'm there.
Yeah.
I am working, but they didn't see me working.
Okay.
I don't have a station with my cards or anything on it. My
Okay.
station has my assistant's license on it.
Okay.
And they don't catch me because they didn't catch me.
Yeah.
And even right now, if you are listening to this, you didn't catch me.
But here's my thing. If I
So
want to
it
go to somebody who doesn't have a license, that should be my right. If I want to go to you, I mean,
Well, and the funny thing is there is a regulation that kind of helps me because it says that I'm allowed to do hair without compensation. So none of my clients are paying me.
no, they can pay Lather Studio though.
Yeah, they can pay whoever they want.
Okay. So that's where you're
listen,
at. Like, oh, tell me. Yeah.
Okay, so it gets juicy too because I find out. So now I am starting a case to then now sue the state.
Okay.
So that's just over the last 2 months. And I have a great group of amazing patriot attorneys that love my story, love my case, and I truly believe are going to push this through Superior Court.
Oh my gosh.
And so we're collecting as much evidence and everything that we possibly can and putting together our case. But
Like this is like right now,
this
today.
is happening.
Oh,
yeah,
shit.
this is happening.
Okay.
So In April, though, I filed for a reconsideration of my revocation.
Okay.
So I went back to court.
Yes.
And I was very honest and told them, like, hey, this is the deal.
You're supposed to be anyways. Yes.
Well, yeah, but I'm like, here's the deal. Like, what you guys did not even, I didn't go against any state board regulation. There's nothing on here. You guys did not adopt any of the COVID guidelines or mandates as part of your guys' regulations. You literally cookie cuttered something in the regulations about public health and made that into me opening my salon during COVID and not wearing masks and not social distancing or opening and closing or anything like that. You guys did that. You did it specifically just for my case and only 3 others.
Sounds like discrimination.
There is 4 of us in the state of California that this happened to.
Oh my God.
And there is 65,000 cosmetology licensees, 65,000 plus. And I guarantee at least half of them were working.
For sure.
Yeah. But me and there's 3 barbers up north, were all very loud. We were very loud about it. We were pushing really hard. So anyways, they end up coming back with a denial of reconsideration or a denial of reinstating my license. Whatever. It's really what I thought would happen. But I just want all this paper trail. I want all these things. I'm gonna do everything I can to show, hey, look, I'm trying. I'm trying and I'm fighting this.
Yes.
So then I'm like, I gotta. This can't just stay in administration court anymore. You know what I mean? Like, I've got to push forward.
Yeah.
So it's like phone calls and this and that and talking to our, local officials and where can I go here and what can I do there? And then finally I land on this group and I found them through Jeffrey Barkey, who is one of the 7 doctors that came out very, very early on in COVID and was talking about medication that would help and work. And they were silenced and silenced and silenced. Yes. He was actually a expert witness in my first case.
Amazing.
So we became really close and great friends. And I reached out to him. I'm like, help me. What do I do? Tell me an attorney. Tell me anything. And he is chairman on the board of this group, this freedom group. So I've been speaking with them, and I'm really excited about it. There's no guarantee quite yet, but it's there. And the girl that I talked to really, really likes my case, and they're looking for some cases to start out for next year. So let's say a little prayer for that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, and if you've been working and they're paying, Lather Studio, but you personally cannot take any compensation, the state, I would think, would owe you money. Granted, I just sell real estate, so I don't know, but it would seem like you're out quite a bit of money.
This is the thing that's so sad is that I'm not even asking for $1. I just want this
you just
to
want to
go
work.
Away. Like, I don't even want it to show on my file for the Board of Bar and that you reinstated it. I want it to just not be there at all.
Go away.
Because it should have never happened.
Agreed.
So it's not like, oh, I want you to reinstate it. And then it shows it was,
yes,
revoked, and this was why, and then it was revoked permanently, and then now we gave it back because of it. Like, I don't want that. I want it to just... all of that needs to be gone. It needs to go back to like it was in 2019, as far as I was concerned. You know what I mean? So I'm trying my best now, and I'm, really, really hopeful. And at the end of the day, I'm working.
Good.
And I have no problem saying that publicly.
And where's Lather Studio located? I know you said in Corona, but where is it specifically?
So it's 511 North Main Street.
Okay.
And it's Suite 106. It's right in that shopping center where it's now Advanced Auto, but Pep Boys is still there.
Okay.
And so, that's where we're at.
So if you're looking for a beautiful salon, local, great way to support the community. Right. And then, so when is your next court date then to find out like what's going on?
I don't have another court date right now. Okay. It's going to be based on filing a case.
Okay.
Yeah. But I am still in talks with the 3 barbers up there. It would be great if we could all do it together.
Sure.
Because it's just huge. But in order to do that, you can't do Superior Court. You got to go to Supreme Court because we're different counties.
Oh.
So it's kind of the question of, would this freedom group of attorneys help us with that? So that's where kind of we are with it.
Well, and I'm wondering if it's not going to go anywhere, and that's why there's kind of just like this endless time of it not going anywhere. Do you see what I'm saying?
No, I totally agree with you. And at the end of the day, okay, so, let's go back to being like the business side of everything, because during all this, I had to still run a business. You know what I mean? Like, I couldn't just focus on all this crap.
Yeah.
I still had to run a business. And at the end of the day of all of this, if it stays exactly how it is today, I have built the best salon in Corona.
Mm-hmm.
I have the best stylist in Corona. We tend to every detail that you can think of. You know, I have a receptionist. We have an awesome beverage bar with sodas and coffee and water. And I have an assistant that folds the floor to help anybody and everybody. I mean, the attention to detail that I provide at Lather Studio, and then on top of that, the amazing stylists that work there, means more to me than anything else.
Yes.
So where should I focus? I need to continue focusing on what's happening every minute, which is my hair salon. And so all my effort that I could possibly give to that place is continuously made to that place. The place just keeps getting better and better. There's never a time where I feel like it's going down.
Right.
It's a great positive work environment. There's a lot of us, but we get along and we have a good time. You know, a lot of us see each other outside of the salon.
Yep.
It's just one of those things that reminds me daily that every single thing has been worth it. Every single moment of completely being terrified or the fears or, you know, any of those emotions have been worth it.
Yes.
You know, you go through it and it's like, okay, I'm going through it, and you just have the adrenaline. So you make it through. And then after you sit back and you look and you're like, crap. And then you're like, oh yeah, it's good. It's good. Everything's good. You know?
Yes.
So it's been crazy. But at the end of the day, to get over what I went through in 2017,
Yep.
to then lead me into 2020 and the amount of stress that put on me in my life.
Yep.
And to sit here right now with you and go, I'm doing this.
And it was all worth it.
I'm not hiding behind my bedroom door.
Right.
I'm not sleeping all day and calling in and not taking my clients.
Yep.
I'm not having anxiety attacks where I literally can't move. I'm living Kira's life.
Yes.
And this was all a part of it for a reason. And I wonder a little bit if it was almost like my first test.
I bet
Like
you.
COVID was like a test for me.
Yes.
And again, like you said, like I know the virus is real.
Yeah, of course.
It's a matter of the depth and the length and the
Mandates
crap
and-
that they went to
Yes.
with it is where I completely disagree.
Yes.
And so I don't want to get the word out there that people think that I'm just like not in tune with the fact that COVID is very real, because I am.
Yes.
But I truly feel like everything happens for a reason.
Yep.
And if I look back on my life and I think of all these different times, I know they happened for these reasons. And even though in the moment I didn't know, I know now.
Well, and here's what I want to kind of end with. You know, I think what you're missing is how amazingly proud of yourself you should be, because I'm telling you right now, as a team lead and as a business owner, I can tell you, we see things how we're going to make it, we're going to survive, we're going to do this. Do you know what kind of culture that brings to those who work with you every single day? Yeah. So the amount of love, loyalty, and security that you brought to those stylists that work with you day in and day out is something, Kira, that nobody can ever replace. So super proud of you. Massive kudos. Good luck. Definitely keep us posted. We'll have to have you back with an update, but I'm so proud of you for definitely kicking it in the ass and really sticking up, not only for what you believe in, but for sticking up for those around you who maybe didn't have a voice as loud and big as yours, because I'm telling you right now, those stylists are so forever grateful for you. So thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story. I am so
much,
grateful for
Lauren.
you.